I'll never forget that day when I got that phone call that my friend had passed away. My friend Michael, he called me on the phone and I was driving and I was having such a good day. I was in a good point in my life and he just tells me that Dylan died, man. And at the time Dylan had been traveling. This man traveled all over the world. He had a flute and a guitar and he went to Central America, he went to Africa, and he went to Spain. He went to Canada. He went all over the place, man. I get the call, yeah, Dylan passed away. And the thing was, it was crazy because I didn't really hear from him for months at that time. And I was kind of like bummed that I didn't know what Dylan was doing or how he was progressing in life. And when I got the call, I was almost happy. It was weird because I just knew that, I don't know, not that he was in a better place, but it was weirdly comforting knowing that I had heard from my friend. As messed up as that sounds. But really, I think what made me have a good feeling in that moment was like I knew that my friend died doing what he loved. See, Dylan was a musician and he traveled, like I said, all over the world. And they said that when they found him, he was in a hammock and he had passed away and there was a guitar laying next to him. And I just like learned a lot from that. I learned a lot from Dylan. He was a pioneer. He was the first person in our friend group from high school that traveled across the world, and that inspired me a bunch. The man had hair down to here, and like, yeah, that inspired me to grow my hair out after he passed away in memory of Dylan. I remember one time he was at my mom's house and he took down his hair and it was longer than any woman that I had even ever seen. And I was like, man, that's badass. Yeah, man. So Dylan was an interesting character. And one of the things that he told me before he passed away, I think maybe it was the last time I saw him, was if you're not doing what you love, you're wasting your time. And he's such a good example to anybody. He left me with that quote before he passed away. And there was one thing about Dylan. He just did what he loved, man. Like, he wasn't this guy who wanted to make a bunch of money. Or maybe he did, but he wasn't, that he wasn't about just doing things for money. He literally loved music so much it took him across the world, and he literally died pursuing his dream. His dream was to start a band, and he just started out like any of us, just practicing. But the thing was, he never gave up. He played drums and he played flute and guitar, and he never gave up. And I just saw him over the years get better and better and better. And he would just travel the world and find himself in these musical situations. And that was what he did when he was here. He found what he had loved and he gave himself entirely to that, even to the point where it killed him. And he told me that. He's like, if you're not doing what you love, you're wasting your time. And that stuck with me because I've done a lot of things to waste my time, a lot of things I didn't love. And as a young person, you don't realize how short life is or how precious life is and really how little time a lifetime is. It seems like just yesterday I was in high school and now here I am. But yeah, man, that phone call and Dylan. So Dylan had been making trips from Guatemala, back to America, then all the way up the West Coast in his van, where he visited me and my mom and stayed with us for a while, and then back down to Arizona, and then over to Spain, and then into Morocco, into the Saharan Desert, and eventually ending up in Senegal and Ghana, because Dylan would show me this like African beat music. I've always been into hip hop, but this man had records. He had immense musical knowledge. And he's like, yeah, man, I think you like this. And he would find these records, man, this like African drums, a style that you don't really hear in Western spheres of music with like, you know, the curated pop music that we're fed. It was like this Afro, I don't know if you call it Afro beat, but these African drums, and it would just make you move, like, you know what I mean? So, and I remember this one video of Dylan just like in a drum circle, and there's these African ladies, and they're just dancing, like they're just dancing, and he's just like there, man. And yeah, I knew that he had experienced that, and I was happy, man. I was happy for him. But yeah, so he ended up in Ghana, and Dylan, I guess when you go to Africa, that's West Africa, it's heavily, there's a lot of malaria, right? There's malaria, and you can take pills to prevent the malaria from getting it. And for whatever reason, he didn't want to take those pills because I guess they make you feel really sick, and other people aren't affected by malaria who are bitten by the mosquitoes with it, so it's not a problem. But unfortunately, he was, and I don't exactly know what happened, but he wasn't able to get medical attention in time. So he passed away from that. But yeah, man, that quote that he left me with, if you're not doing what you love, you're wasting your time, that applies deeply to every human experience, because you should be doing what you love, man, because you can. And if you're doing anything else besides what you love, you're wasting your time. And I think if you look back at the end of your life doing all this stuff, like, because you're imposed with ideas by growing up in a society, we're advertised to more than we ever have been in human history. The impressions of sales and propaganda made to manipulate our minds is more than any time in human history. So what's filling your head could just be, it's not meant to lead you to pure joy. It's meant to lead you to give your hard-earned money to somebody else, to empower somebody else. So what you can do is you can be present with your life and really find what you love. Go through your life, and then one of these days you're going to find yourself laughing in the present moment with a group of people, or doing something in the present moment, and you're just going to love it, and you're going to feel joy, and you just got to remember that. And then you just got to keep doing it, because there's really no point in not doing that. And if you're not doing that, you're actively serving somebody else instead of just empowering yourself, man. And I'm making this video because I just wanted to remind myself that, because it's not such an easy time now where there's so many distractions. If you can envision what you want, you can just start. And you're not going to know what it looks like. But once you know, you can just start, and then amazing things will happen. And I can't say what those amazing things are. Nobody can, but that's why they're amazing, because you have no idea. Like, the thing is, when you start on the path, it's dark, and you can't see the way you're going, but like each step you take leads you to a new place. And maybe you have like an idea on which direction to walk, but as soon as you start walking it, you're going to be led to an experience that you could have never imagined, because life's a mystery, man, and it's a gift. So you should walk in the direction of your heart, just like Dylan did, man. Dylan Ward was a legend. He died at 26 years old doing what he loved. And although he was not a perfect human being, he left and set forth an example that has impacted the lives of me and everybody that he came in contact with. And I just wanted to make this video paying respects to that man and all the small moments that he influenced me. Every time Dylan would show up, it was like special because he wasn't there a lot. And when he did show up, he had a new perspective on things because he had been doing and seeing things that nobody else in my city had been doing. And when he would show up, our time was sweet because it was unique and it was short-lived, but it was that feeling that like I may not spend all my time with this person, but when I do spend time with this person, there's something about being present and the perspective that he bring to the situation that I appreciated. The way he lived life. Unconventional, but with a reverence for life and a knowledge of impermanence that not many of the people that you may meet in life necessarily have. And that was special, man. Yeah, Dylan gave this, he had this song released after he passed away, and I don't have it down completely, but it goes something like this. It's like, innocent and true is that, strike the knee is that, wild and free is that, child in me is that, pure and new, innocent shining through is that, you is that, yes sir, it's a simple life and a lullaby of the child in me, of the child in me. Yeah. So go out and do what you love because you only got one life as far as we know. And once you see that the world in front of you is you, then you don't have anything to be afraid of. You can keep taking those steps and finding that journey, that adventure in life that so many of us are missing. I'll see you out there.